Usually when you picture selling your business, there's this expectation of a spectacular movie ending.
Oh, absolutely. The grand finale.
Right. You've sat in the boardroom, you've, negotiated the valuation, the ink is totally dry on the heads of terms, and finally you get that notification.
The best notification.
The absolute best. The money hits your bank account, and you're supposed to, pop the champagne, hand over a neat little set of keys, and just ride off into the sunset.
Yeah. I mean, it's supposed to be the ultimate finish line, right? Clean, absolute, and totally final.
But then you actually reach completion day, and suddenly that movie ending turns into a frantic, high-anxiety reality TV show.
Oh, it really does.
Your phone is just ringing off the hook. The buyer is locked out of all the core marketing systems. The staff are in an absolute panic about their paycheck. I mean, it is honestly complete operational chaos.
It's the absolute definition of a muddy waters situation. Because we all like to think of a business sale as this clean surgical transaction.
Right.
And the lawyers certainly treat it that way. But the reality on the ground is, well, it's deeply, deeply entangled.
Exactly. Okay, let's unpack this. Our mission today is to explore the practical stuff that nobody tells you about completion day.
The real day-to-day stuff.
Yeah, because lawyers are brilliant at drafting the sale agreement and protecting you legally, sure, but they rarely tell you how to handle the actual physical operational handover.
No, they don't. That's not really their job.
Exactly. So today, we are diving into a huge stack of M&A training manuals, dealmaker postmortems, and takeover guides. And you, yes, you listening right now, the business owner who is getting ready to sell this deep dive, is entirely for you.
And we should be very clear right up front. We are looking strictly at this from the seller's point of view.
Right, but wait, let me stop you right there and play devil's advocate for just a second.
Go for it.
If I've successfully negotiated my exit, right, I've signed the papers, the cash is sitting safely in my account, why is any of this my problem?
That is the million-dollar question.
Right. Can't I just block the buyer's number, head to the beach, and, let them figure it out? They bought the company. They can run it.
It is such a tempting thought. Honestly, who wouldn't want to do that?
Yeah.
But if we connect this to the bigger picture, a clean break doesn't actually happen just because a contract says so.
No.
Not at all. If the business implodes on day 2, because the buyer literally cannot operate it, they aren't just going to shrug and accept it.
I guess that's true. They're going to come looking for you.
Exactly. They will dig into the sale agreement. They'll look for misrepresentation clauses. They'll hold back earn-out payments, or they'll just, harass you relentlessly.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So doing this operational handover perfectly isn't about doing the buyer a favor. It is your definitive armor. I mean, it's the only way you protect your legacy, your peace of mind, and ultimately the money you just made.
Okay, so it's really about building a fortress around your exit. I love that.
Yes, exactly.
So let's start with the perimeter of that fortress, which is the digital keys to the kingdom. Because looking through these deal postmortems, this seems to be where the most immediate and stressful post-sale panic actually happens.
Oh, without a doubt. It's instantaneous.
Specifically, I'm talking about the hidden trap of two-factor authentication.
It is a total nightmare scenario. I mean, think about the basic infrastructure of running a business today.
Right. It's all online.
Yeah. You have your government tax portals, your CRM system, your web hosting, your social media accounts. And how is all of that secured?
Usually it's all tied to a mobile phone. You try to log in, and it pings a text code to your device.
Precisely. And whose mobile phone is it usually tied to?
The founder's personal mobile.
Always. What's fascinating here is how this reveals the psychology of the entrepreneur. Because when you start a business, it grows organically out of your personal identity.
Yeah, you're literally working from your couch.
Exactly. You set up the Facebook business page from your personal laptop. You register the government tax account with your personal mobile number because at the time, it's just you. It's convenient.
And then it's free.
Right. But then fast forward 10 years, the business is worth millions of dollars. But your personal and business digital identities are still completely intertwined.
Wow. And the danger here is just so stark. I was actually looking at a postmortem report of an online business deal where this went horribly wrong.
Oh, the social media one.
Yes.
Right.
The seller had built this massive Facebook following. We're talking around 15 or 20,000 highly engaged users.
Which is huge.
It was the absolute lifeblood of their marketing. So they sell the company, hand over the physical keys, and get straight on a plane to go on vacation.
As you do.
Right. But then the new buyer sits down at the office, tries to log into the Facebook page from a brand new IP address, and boom, Facebook triggers an automatic security lockdown.
Right, because the algorithm sees a new device and a new IP address trying to access a really high-value page, and it just assumes it's a hostile takeover by a hacker.
Exactly. So the system does exactly what it's supposed to do. It sends a 2FA text message to the founder's phone,
But the founder is on a beach.
with their phone switched off. So the buyer can't get in at all. They are completely locked out of a platform that is vital to the business's survival.
That is terrifying for a buyer.
And an adverse algorithmic block like that, I mean, it can destroy a company's web traffic overnight. And trying to get a human at a major tech company to manually unlock a flagged account, that takes weeks.
Oh, good luck with that. It's impossible. And while that buyer is bleeding revenue every single day they are locked out, who are they blaming?
They're definitely blaming the seller.
Oh, absolutely. They're going to have their lawyers calling your lawyers immediately. The ultimate way to protect your personal privacy post-exit is to aggressively audit and decouple all these digital assets well before completion day.
You know, it's like selling your house, handing the new owners the front door keys, but accidentally leaving your personal smart home app connected to the system.
Oh, that's a perfect analogy.
Right. So the new owners can't turn on the lights, they can't adjust the thermostat, or open the garage without texting you while you're trying to sip a margarita on vacation.
It's maddening.
It's totally maddening for them, and it completely ruins your ability to disconnect.
That is exactly what happens. But there is a brilliant, highly practical workaround for this, especially for high-security government portals like HMRC in the UK or the IRS in the States.
Okay, what's the fix?
So on completion day, before you walk out the door, you sit down and log in alongside the buyer, and you set the access codes to remain valid for a very specific window.
Oh, really?
Yeah, usually 7 days.
A 7-day buffer? That is so smart.
Yes, because it gives the buyer a secure, authorized window to get into the architecture themselves, change the admin privileges, register their own devices, and process the transition, all without needing to call you every single time they click a mouse.
Wow, that saves everyone so much headache.
It really does. And you also have to do a full password audit of your staff's computers.
Wait, why the staff?
Because if employees set their own terminal passwords and someone suddenly quits during the transition, which happens all the time, you might own the physical hardware, but the buyer is completely locked out of the software.
Oh, man. Okay, so we've secured the founder's personal digital perimeter, but I guess that's just the tip of the iceberg, because the moment you untangle yourself from the system, you have to look at the people left behind inside it.
Yes, the human element.
And that brings us to what might actually be the most volatile technical handover of all, which is the payroll software.
Oh, without a doubt. Moving from the digital realm to the human realm is where things get highly emotive. Money always is.
Hold on, I'm actually a bit lost on the mechanics here, specifically when we talk about an asset purchase versus a share purchase.
Yeah.
Because if I'm selling the shares of my company, the corporate entity just rolls over, right? Like nothing really changes.
Right.
But if the buyer is doing an asset purchase, what actually happens to the people?
That is a very crucial distinction. If you sell the shares, like you said, the company remains exactly the same legal person. It just has a new owner. The payroll just keeps running in the background.
Okay, simple enough.
But in an asset purchase, the buyer is basically cherry-picking the assets. They take the equipment, the brand, the client list, and they move them into a brand new corporate entity, usually called a special purpose vehicle, or SPV.
Right.
Now, under labor laws in a lot of places, like TUPE regulations in the UK, for instance,
Yeah.
you can't just fire the staff and make them reapply for their job.
So that makes sense.
Right. Their continuous employment rights transfer over to the new buyer automatically.
Okay, so legally they are totally protected, but mechanically they're technically getting a completely new employer on paper.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this is where the trap is. Mechanically, the tax authorities view this as the employee leaving one job and starting a brand new one,
Oh, I see.
which means the seller's payroll person
Yeah.
absolutely must issue termination tax documents, things like a P45 or a P46.
Yeah.
And they have to hand them over to the buyer's new system.
And if they don't, like, what's the actual mechanism that breaks down if the seller just thinks, I signed the deal, payroll isn't my problem anymore?
If that official documentation isn't passed over, the national tax system gets a massive blind spot.
What do you mean?
Well, the buyer puts the staff on their new payroll, but the tax authority's computer system says, wait a minute, we never received notice that this person left their old job. They must be working 2 concurrent jobs.
Oh, no.
Yes. As a result, the system automatically triggers an emergency tax code. It just assumes the employee has exhausted their tax-free allowances on the quote-unquote first job.
And taxes their entire paycheck at the maximum rate.
Exactly, at the absolute maximum emergency rate.
Oh, that is brutal. So the employee opens their very first pay slip under the new management, and like half their rent money is just missing.
Yes. And remember, we are talking about people who might be living paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
The panic is instantaneous.
Yeah, I was actually reading a case study about this exact scenario in the sources. The handover was incredibly clumsy. The seller didn't prioritize the payroll transition at all, and on payday, 22 staff members got hit with emergency tax codes.
22. Oh, wow.
Yeah. The staff were so furious they actually organized. They submitted 22 identical word-for-word copy and paste formal grievances by email.
That is a nightmare for a new owner.
Total nightmare. The new buyer had to suspend operations and conduct 22 separate, highly tense HR sit-downs just to stop a walkout.
Wow. And who do you think those 22 employees were really cursing in the break room?
Well, the new buyer, right?
The buyer takes the immediate brunt of the anger, sure. But the staff know exactly whose fault it really is. They are cursing you, the seller. Oh, definitely. You're the person who built the company, who asked for their loyalty for years, and then you just left them in a massive financial mess on the way out.
Ah, I see. It's like throwing a financial grenade over your shoulder as you walk out the door. You might be safe in your car driving away, but you just destroyed your entire legacy.
And unlike a real grenade, the shrapnel hits you too.
Wait, how?
Because if you have earnout targets, meaning part of your payout depends on the business hitting certain revenue goals over the next 12 months, a furious, demoralized staff is going to absolutely tank your profitability.
Oh, wow. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. Ensuring a flawless technical handover of the payroll isn't just an administrative chore. It is your final act of leadership. It's how you ensure you are remembered as the founder who protected their team rather than the one who sold out and ran.
Okay, so we have successfully passed the baton on the payroll, so your staff aren't, burning you in effigy. And we've untangled your mobile phone from the tax accounts. Let's move out of the digital and human realms and into the physical space. The really boring logistical basics.
The boring stuff is often where the most money quietly leaks out of a deal post-completion.
Yes, we are talking about the physical real estate and the service contracts, canceling the photocopier lease, reorganizing the utility bills, changing the commercial refuse collection.
And even updating the key holder details at the local police station if you have a monitored alarm system.
Right. Let's focus on the utilities first, because this is a classic, highly avoidable trap.
It really is. The absolute golden rule for completion day, and this applies whether you are selling a massive warehouse or a tiny retail shop, is that you must take utility meter readings yourself, and you must take a clear photograph of them.
A photograph, not just writing the numbers down on a sticky note and handing it to the buyer.
Exactly. A photograph with a timestamp on your phone is bulletproof evidence.
Why does that matter so much?
Because utility companies operate on estimated billing cycles. If you just call them and say, hey, I sold the business today, but you don't provide hard proof of the exact meter reading at that exact hour, the utility company will just estimate the usage.
Yeah.
And then the buyer comes in, cranks up the manufacturing equipment, or leaves the lights on 24/7, and 3 months later, you, the seller, receive a massive final bill.
For electricity you didn't even use.
Right. And if you don't have that photo, you will find yourself in a drawn-out, exhausting dispute with a debt collection agency.
Man. But here's where it gets really interesting, though. It's not just the utility bills that can come back to haunt you. It's the physical property itself.
On the real estate.
Yeah, I was looking into how commercial real estate works during an exit, specifically this thing called the Schedule of Condition Survey. And this completely blew my mind.
It catches a lot of people off guard.
If you are doing an asset purchase and assigning your commercial lease to the buyer, you could be hit with absolutely massive dilapidation costs.
Dilapidations are a fascinating and, frankly, terrifying mechanism in commercial property law. Essentially, a landlord has the legal right to demand the property be returned to its original state at the end of a lease, or when a lease is assigned to a new party.
Right, and let's walk through the mechanics of that because it's wild. Say you signed a 25-year lease on a building and you're selling the business 10 years in.
Okay.
Over that decade, you made changes. Maybe you removed an internal brick wall to make the office open plan, which, everyone agreed looked way better.
Sure.
Or maybe there's this massive industrial boiler in the back room that technically still works but has been on its absolute last legs for 6 months. When you go to transfer that lease to the buyer, the landlord's surveyor walks through the door. What actually happened?
Well, the landlord looks at the original lease agreement from 10 years ago,
Mm.
and they completely ignore the fact that your changes were improvements.
They don't care that it looks better.
They do not care. They just demand you put the building back exactly as it was. They will say, that open plan office is nice, but the original floor plan had a wall. Rebuilding it will be $10,000.
You have to pay to rebuild a wall they don't even want.
Yep. And they'll say, that boiler is near the end of its lifespan, so you need to replace it with a brand new one before you hand over the lease.
That is insane. It reminds me of a zombie gym membership.
A zombie gym membership.
Yeah, the one that keeps charging your credit card every month because you didn't cancel it with exactly the right certified letter.
Oh, right. Yes.
These forgotten physical contracts and property liabilities act exactly like that. But they are so much worse than a gym membership because the sums of money are astronomical.
That is exactly it. And with dilapidation clauses, the landlord actually has the legal leverage to put a lien on your assets.
Wait, really?
Yes. Or they can halt the lease transfer entirely, which can literally kill your business sale at the 11th hour.
Wow. So what does a seller actually do?
The seller must aggressively clear the decks. You have to formally novate your contracts, which basically transfers all legal obligations and rights to the buyer.
Okay.
And you must negotiate a firm line in the sand regarding the physical condition of the property. By doing that, you actively protect your payout from being clawed back by landlords months down the line.
Okay, so let's review. The digital passwords are secure, the staff tax codes are handled, the physical meters are photographed, and the property liabilities are capped. Everything on paper is completely clean.
Sounds perfect.
But, what about the stuff that isn't on paper?
The ghost in the machine.
The intangible assets.
Yes.
This is perhaps the hardest part of letting go, because a business isn't just the sum of its legal contracts and software subscriptions. It is this living, breathing ecosystem of relationships, quirks, and unwritten rules that are entirely locked inside the seller's brain.
Tacit knowledge. The postmortem reports we looked at are very direct about this risk.
Oh.
If operational processes aren't written down, they effectively do not exist the moment the founder walks out the door.
They just vanish.
Exactly. And there is a rather harsh reality in M&A. A seller will always swear they'll be available for a 6-month handover period.
Oh, of course. Call me anytime.
Right. But once the deal is signed and the cash actually clears, their motivation drops to zero. Their phone goes dead.
Which, again, from the seller's perspective, is the whole point. You want your phone to go dead. You want to go play golf or start your next venture. So I have to ask, isn't there a massive temptation to just say, look, I got my money, I transferred the assets, it's their company now, let them figure out the quirks?
There is a massive temptation. But it's incredibly short-sighted, because this raises an important question. What happens when the buyer's lack of knowledge causes the business to stall?
Do they really crash that fast?
Yes. If the business relies on your tacit knowledge to function, and you hoard that knowledge, the buyer is going to crash the company. And when they crash, they don't blame themselves.
Right, they blame you.
They look at the sale agreement, they claim you misrepresented the viability of the business, and they drag you straight into mediation.
Man. It's like selling a highly complex, custom-built vintage sports car to someone, but refusing to tell the new owner that the clutch sticks in third gear.
Oh, that's good.
Right. You know exactly how to finesse that clutch because you built the car and you've driven it every day for 10 years. It's just muscle memory to you.
You didn't even think about it.
But the new owner doesn't know. So they take it out on the highway, they grind the gears to dust, they completely crash the car, and then they come back and sue you for selling them a lemon.
That is a perfect way to look at it. To prevent that crash, you have to document the nuances of the engine.
Give me an example from a business perspective.
For example, who is the key client that always pays their invoices 45 days late, but is completely reliable, and will get deeply personally offended if the new buyer's automated accounting software sends them an aggressive late notice?
Oh, every single business has that one client. You send them an automated email and they threaten to pull their entire account.
Exactly. Or, Which crucial supplier requires a casual 5-minute phone call every Thursday morning just to keep the relationship smooth and ensure you maintain preferential pricing?
Right, the stuff that's not on a spreadsheet.
Exactly. Those are the invisible, unwritten rules that keep the business solvent. A clean break doesn't come from running away the moment the ink is dry. It comes from an exhaustive brain dump beforehand.
Getting it all out of your head.
Documenting your tacit knowledge, explicitly mapping out those quirky relationships, that is your ultimate insurance policy. It empowers the buyer to succeed without you, which is honestly the only way they will truly leave you alone.
So what does this all mean for you, the seller, as you approach the finish line? Let's recap this journey.
Let's do it.
If you want to actually enjoy the wealth you've just generated, you have to do the granular, practical work. You have to decouple your personal identity from the digital infrastructure so you don't trigger security lockouts.
Right.
You have to understand the mechanics of the payroll transfer so your loyal staff aren't devastated by emergency tax codes.
Absolutely vital.
You have to rigorously document the physical state of your premises to prevent those zombie liabilities. And you have to empty your brain onto paper so the buyer knows how to drive the car without crashing it.
Because completing this practical checklist is the definitive armor you wear to protect your money, your reputation, and your peace of mind post-sale.
It really is the difference between an exit that feels like a victory lap and an exit that feels like a hostage negotiation.
Very well said.
So before we sign off, I want to leave you with something to mull over that we haven't actually touched on yet.
Okay, what's that?
Let's say you do all this perfectly. You untangle your phone, your daily routine, your identity. The handover is flawless. The business runs like a well-oiled machine completely without you.
The dream scenario.
Right. You wake up on day one of your retirement, the sun is shining, the bank account is full, and your phone does not ring.
Wow.
The psychological vacuum of that silence is profound. If you are no longer the founder, the problem solver, the person holding the keys, who are you now? Prepare for the operational handover, yes, but make sure you are prepared for the quiet that follows. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Here's to making sure your exit is exactly the ending you deserve.